Now, what we're going to talk about now is verbs. Okay, specifically, Spanish verbs act very uniquely. What ends up happening in an English sentence is that you typically have your subject and your verb, and then usually a predicate, okay, at the end. For instance, if I were to say, I walk the dog, that's a pretty simple sentence. That is a good example of English. In Spanish, though, what the Spanish is going to do is that they're actually going to take the subject plus the verb, and that's going to be oftentimes utilized into one word, and that's going to be the verb. We'll talk about that a little bit more. We've already reviewed that the fact that I in Spanish is yo, okay, well, it's going back to that prior knowledge of I, meaning yo, and those pronouns that we talked about in another video. So I walk the dog. We'll talk about that sense a little bit later. I just want you to understand that there's a little difference between English and Spanish. The fact that the subject and the verb in Spanish will come together as in Spanish. In English, we separate it out. We say I, the subject, walk, the verb, and then your predicate is whatever else you want to add on, in this case, the dog. Now, that's one aspect. Another aspect that's even more basic to learning how to conjugate a verb and learning how to speak in Spanish is understanding verbs themselves. In Spanish, there's three types of verb endings, and those three types of verb endings are verbs that will end in either AR, that will end in ER, or they will end in IR. For instance, the verb buscar, which means to look for, it ends in the last two letters of AR. You can see them right there. And for this example, I'm actually going to box that. Buscar ends in AR. Another verb that ends in ER is going to be poner, ends in ER, okay? And then one that ends in IR is abrir, which means to open, okay? And you see the last two letters are IR. Now, there's two parts to every verb, and really quick, I'm going to write them down. You write them down as well, and then we'll go through an example. Two parts of every verb. Well, one, it's this verb ending that we just talked about here and pointed out. Every verb's going to end in either AR, ER, or IR, okay? One of those three. So part of that's going to be our verb ending. Now, the natural question is, well, what is the other part of the verb? Well, the other part is everything else that we have left over. So for abrir, it's ABR, poner, PON, buscar, BUSC. So what I'm going to do for the example here is I'm going to underline this part. Now that underlined part is what we call the stem of the verb or the root of the verb. So that's the other part. So it's called the stem or the root. Now the stem or the root is going to be something that remains the same. It's the root. It doesn't change. Okay, the verb ending though, what we're going to actually do, and we're going to see this here in a second, is that it actually gets dropped off and eliminated. But let's review really quick. Buscar, what's the verb ending? Go ahead and box it. You got it, okay? So AR, it's got a verb ending of AR. Now remember, we said we are going to drop that verb ending. So let's just cross it out for now, and we'll come back to it here in a second. Before we leave it, let's underline what we call the stem or the root. So go back to that stem or root, underline BUSC. Now, let's review some more. The Spanish pronouns are the following. Remember the top left box? It means I in English. It's yo in Spanish. Okay? You informal. That's tu in Spanish. T-U. Don't forget your accent over the U. He, she, it, and then you formal. It is he is L. Don't forget that accent over the E. She, ella, and then usted is you formal. We in Spanish, remember you got two of them, nosotros, and then nosotras. Y'all, informal, vosotros, and vosotras. And then they masculine, which is ellos. They feminine, which is ellas. And then y'all formal, which is ustedes. Now, those are your Spanish pronouns. Remember, I said that a couple videos ago, that we're always going to work in boxes of 6, okay? These 6 boxes are your foundation. These are fundamental. If you don't understand these, don't know them, let's go back, take a look on the website at these Spanish pronouns. Now, if you do, let's move forward. Let's continue our learning and let's take a look at the AR verb endings. Remember we said there were 3 types of verb endings in Spanish. We talked about them earlier in this video: AR, ER, and then IR. AR, ER, and IR. It's just the very last part of every verb, AR, ER, and IR. Now, we said that we're going to drop off those verb endings and we're going to replace them. Okay, we can't just drop it off and let it be. We got to replace it. So what are we going to replace every AR verb ending with? It's the following, and this is for the present tense. We should specify that. This is going to be in the present tense. So today, I walk the dog. Okay, right now, here in the present. Not the past, not the future, the present. And those AR verb endings are going to be O, AS, A, AMOS, A with an accent, IS, and then AN. In Spanish, those are pronunciated as O, AS, A, AMOS, AIS, and then ON. Okay? Now, those verb endings connect directly back to our Spanish pronouns. Remember, the top left box connects to the top left box. The middle left box connects to the middle left box. The bottom left box connects to the bottom left box. Top right, you get the idea. The boxes connect. Now, let's take a look over here. Sort of running out of room, but we'll get it figured out. Buscar. The verb means to look for. We drop our verb ending. That leaves us with the stem or the root. So let's start off with that in each box. B-U-S-C. Now that top left box, I have to replace that AR that I dropped off and replace it with something. So I look over my other top left box. It looks like I need to add an O. Let's put it on there. All of a sudden, I have just conjugated my first verb, and it's busco. Go ahead and say that, busco. The second, let's start off. What's my stem or root? B-U-S-C. I write it down, B-U-S-C. I need a verb ending, so I take a look, A-S. I need to add that on to this middle left box. Buscas. Go ahead and say that, buscas. The next one, busca. Noticed? I took my stem or my root and then added the A. You do the next 3. Go ahead and take a minute and do that. Pause the video. Now that you've already done that, let's go ahead and fill those in. Might run out of room, it looks like, but I'll try to fit it in. B-U-S-C-A-M-O-S. Hope you can see that. Next one, B-U-S-C, A with an accent, I-S, B-U-S-C-A-N. You notice, I'll underline my verb endings, my new ones at least. The O, the A-S, the A, the A-M-O-S, the A-I-S, the A-N. All of those verb endings I just underlined connect over to these ones here. Okay, I've taken a little liberty, just rewritten all those verbs so you can actually hopefully see them this time. But now notice you still have your Spanish pronouns. We're going to talk about the connections with the boxes here in a moment. Busco, B-U-S-C-O. Okay, look at the verb ending. It's the O. If you think back to what you wrote in your notes as the verb endings in Spanish, that's O, as, a, amos, ais, on. O, as, a, amos, ais, on. And all I did was I attached that to my stem or my root, which you can notice each one of these has B-U-S-C, 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 so on and so forth. Okay, now, they connect to the Spanish pronouns. So, yo, if you think back to your prior knowledge of what the pronouns are, yo means I in Spanish. Remember that I connects over to that O that we put on as the new verb ending. So no longer does buscar simply mean to look for. It no longer means that. It now means in this top left box, I look for. For instance, I look for the dog. This next one, to, is you informal. That means that buscas, this middle left box, means you, informal, we have a good relationship, you're my friend, so you look for the dog. Busca, now this one's tricky because that one actually has 3 different meanings. It means he looks for the dog, he looks for, she looks for, or you formal look for. Buscamos, it connects over to nosotros and nosotras. Buscamos therefore means we look for. Buscáis, y'all look for, and buscan, they look for. Notice the boxes connect.